What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading Investing. It's Monday on a shortened week over here. It's going to be a strong and good week. Hope everyone's ready for it. Hope everyone had a good weekend, is well rested, and ready to focus in on over here. When I say shortened week, we have the July 4th holiday in the US. Friday is a complete holiday, or you should take it as one completely. We're looking at Monday through Friday over here. We're already into the New York session. We are seeing, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about also outside of the charts today, including what's going on with the Greek exit talks, as well as what is happening with Facebook. Sometimes, you know what? I don't really take joy in misfortune, but, any type of Facebook being boycotted is, by the liberal media is anyway, we'll take a look at that. That's what the headline says. We'll see what that's all about. But we're looking here at the S&P 500. We're going to look at some important technical levels this morning. We're going to look at the move on the euro, the British pound, which is what we talked about when we talked about the negotiations and what's happening with them. Bitcoin is lagging. Gold is looking buoyant. And S&P 500 over here and the markets look like they're on the verge of putting up a stand to hold these support levels we looked at over the weekend. A lot of people thought that was ludicrous, that we were coming into support and therefore would hold. But here we are. We're holding support over here. Let's take a look across the board. We're going to really, because it's a shortened week, we're going to really go thorough in our analysis. We're going to go really thorough today. We're going to go slowly over each pair and just look where we are in the market and look what is setting up and really get going here. But starting with the S&P 500 over here, we could see, and I want to go ahead at this trend line. This is the important trend line that we're watching over here, because as we're bouncing here right now, if we come out and take out this trend line, what happens? Well, at that point, expect further pressure. There's no question about it. If you go ahead and you clone that line over here, and if you clone this line, that's how we got all these lines. You can see the yellow light trend lines that I'm highlighting over. Here's another one, right? That's how look at the market over here. Now take it down over here, right? I'm taking it down and I'm putting it over here. And right over here, touching those 2 points. If we break down to the downside, that's probably where you want to look for the let's say for the culmination of the move. That should be as far as we go. That should be around the area of 29.73. That's horizontal support at 29.73. It's also this trend line support right over there. Now, yeah, if we do break below there, then we're gonna have an extended, I believe, move, at least a pullback. But right now, it looks like we're holding here. We're making higher highs here. You should be long right now. You should have had this plan coming in over the weekend after watching the videos over the weekend, right? If we start making lower lows, though, and take out this trend line, there's from here to here, you don't, what do you do, right? Well, that's a tough one. It depends what time frame you're looking at over here. It depends what time frame you're looking at over here. Anyone looking for a short-term trade, it's from this trend line into here. If you start making a lower low, but at the same time, you should be looking to buy into here. This will probably be the end of the move, that trend line, and that should be a good place to be buying in. And the buy trade, if it works out, is going to provide a nice move to the upside. Right? It's going to be a nice trade to look for. And that's the most probable trade that's going to happen. Most probably we hold here or we hold here, right? The third option that could happen is we break over here, and then at that point, that's when you start attacking to the downside. All right. The dark screen's better. Dark versus light. I just want to get some comment right now whether you're in the dark camp or the light camp. I changed it to the light over the weekend because I was just taking a screenshot, and then I don't know, I never went back to the dark and didn't want to set it up at that moment. But I also like trying new things all the time. So here we are in white, but if we get like everyone's like dark, of course I prefer the dark too myself. I'm just kind of trying to change it up. I think it's kind of like That's a tough one. You have the light camp and the dark camp, and it's pretty even. I'll try to say the levels though, whatever we're looking at. Maybe we'll just be going back and forth between the dark and the light. A couple of sessions light, a couple of sessions dark, things like that. Let's take a look at what the dollar is doing this morning. Dollar is being rejected, right? It's being rejected up in this area again. That's twice now we've been rejected. We're seeing, well, trying to get a good look for what's going on. You have to watch this area to the upside. That's where we now have the strongest resistance. So as long as we're staying below there in this down move, I expect that we're going to see further dollar weakness. Right? Which also translates, just so you're connecting thing with us trading up over here, right? And then where are we wrong on this? We're wrong if we come up over here, if we get above this area right now, which is 97.60 at that point, all right, well, the dollar is starting to firm up. Right now, it looks like it's going to continue weaken. Obviously, we need to come down and test this area down over here to show that the trend is intact. That's 96.45. And then a break below there could send us down to making new lows for the year. Easily in play over here. Gold is looking pretty great over here, trading at 1768, continues to consolidate towards yearly highs. Gold continues and will continue to buy on support. Same thing with silver. Silver is looking actually pretty good over here. You could see that we look like we're on the verge of perhaps breaking out here to the upside over here. And clearly that's if price starts making higher highs over here at this level. But gold and silver, I think, will continue to shine. Bitcoin is also, if you think about it, Bitcoin's back where? At 9,100. That's the level that was holding. We dipped below it for a brief second, but are now back there right now. Bitcoin continues ever since the halving, it had that 19% drawdown right after the halving and then bounced right back up and is since consolidating. It continues to consolidate. Bitcoin is getting close. It's going to be soon. It's going to be very soon. It takes out the 10,400 level. And at that point, Bitcoin will be off to the races. Is that a given that it's going to break out here and now? Of course not. We all know that. I still have orders in at 8,500 and 82. Those would be two areas that I will accumulate. I have buy orders in. I've had those in ever since I got filled back at 82 and then bought that at 86, right? So we'll see what happens over there, but that's where I'm ready. Is now a good time to buy Bitcoin if you don't own Bitcoin? Well, we are now, if you just take a quick look off the high over here, we are about 13% off the high. That's always a good time, I think, to buy Bitcoin as we're entering now this new phase. Those are my thoughts. Let's get into the cross pairs over here. Let's get into the cross pairs. Oh, Tom, let me. I was looking for something like that to focus in on. Let me take a brief look at that. It's an important question right now. Right? Should you wait for the breakout of, to get your first position into Bitcoin? I don't think so. Me personally, if I didn't own Bitcoin, I would be buying right now as it's down, 13% from the recent high. I wouldn't wait for the confirmation that it's going to break out here to the upside. It's going to, in my opinion, obviously how I'm positioned, it's breaking out here to the upside. It's about to get started on the bull market. Is it a question of timing? Is that going to happen this week, or is it going to happen in the next 3 or 4 weeks? I mean, that's generally what I think is going to happen. Any further pullbacks, I would position. I would be a buyer, right? And that continues. We could go down. We could go down as far as 7,000. That would be a 30% pullback from the high over here, all the way down to 7,000. So I'm prepared for that. I don't think that happens. I don't think I get filled at 8,500, and I don't think I get filled at 8,200. And I've said that since I placed those orders, that I don't think they'll get filled. 9,100 seems to be a pretty the bottom of the range over here, and a good place to be start positioning yourself. And in my opinion, this is what I would tell my mother, right? And it's not financial advice towards you. I'm not trying to tell you when to buy Bitcoin or to buy Bitcoin, but I am going to continue to lay out the case for Bitcoin, which it happens to be extraordinarily bullish right now, both technically and fundamentally. And we talk about when you get both the technicals and the fundamentals lined up together, that some magic could happen. Well, here we are right now, right? And this is also playing out on gold, right? Gold and silver, right? But it's going to be there's going to be much bigger moves over here on Bitcoin, much bigger moves. All right, let's take a look at some cross pairs. I don't know if that's still up on the screen over there. How could the white be? we just have like a whole there's the white and the black, and everyone's they got their camp. I think we'll go back and forth. I'm enjoying the white right now. It just makes me look at the charts a little bit different after looking at the dark ones every day. And, after a couple of days of this, we'll see a little bit of that. Euro US dollar looking pretty strong over here today. Looking very strong over here today. I hope if you watched the weekly Forex forecast, we looked at the Euro US dollar, and, it's exactly what we were looking for to happen over here. We were looking for the resumption over here. As soon as you take out, the little bit of a high, we start making higher high. It was a great opportunity. And that continues to look good. We looked at the US dollar and we said, okay, we should be rolling over here, right? We should be seeing further pressure after the rejection. We'll know where we're wrong. Same thing on the Euro US dollar, right? If this gets taken out over here to the downside, right? That double top you're seeing in the DXY, well, here's that double bottom on the Euro US dollar, right? If price comes down and then we lose that level, at that point is when we're seeing a rejection again of this trend line. Let me just make it a little bit clearer because it's important, and I'm on the white charts and different things are happening. So let me just draw that in like that, right? So now here's on the 8-hour. If we get below this line over here, then this resistance that we just added in, this trend line resistance going back a long time, 5 years, right? If this holds, we're making lower lows over here, then you really want to be looking for further downside at this point. But right now, we're in this range, and as long as we're in this range, watch it. There's good trading within the range still, but a break out to the upside will also lead to a much bigger move here on the Euro US dollar. That would be meaning that we're seeing a much weaker dollar, which, if we break down out of here to the downside, here it is now in the DXY, just so you can see what's going on right now, because we're at some important levels. If we further extend down, then, Euro US dollar could really be taking off. Is that the base case? That seems to be where I'm leaning towards right now. Although you could see that I'm watching in this consolidation area over here, because the move is going to be a big move, whether it's the upside or downside. So let's leave that in for right now. With your Australian dollar, US dollar, I don't look at the grayscale GBTC chart ever. I look at the Bitcoin chart. I am invested in GBTC personally, but I don't look at the chart at all. It's a play on Bitcoin. I'm only focused on Bitcoin, and obviously I'm holding that for a while. So there's no need to look at the chart. Could I reduce the contrast? Duarte, I like the darkness, right, of the pair that's being traded. It doesn't, any price bars in that area are not something that you're really focused in on, right? So I kind of like being able to see what is the instrument being looked at as like the focal point, because, I don't really think so. I don't think it interferes. All right. So, by the way, Duarte. So, if others agree with Duarte, definitely, support that. So I know. But otherwise, I like it. Australian dollar, U.S. dollar. We could see we are consolidating very nicely over here, right? Very nicely over here. It looks like we're back to an old familiar situation where we're waiting for a breakout on the dollar. Why do I say that? The last time we had a leg on the dollar, right? We were up in this area over here. Let me go to the 3-day just to make it a little bit easier. We were in this. That's not easier. The 8 hours easier. We were all the way back in this area. Everyone's familiar with this channel that was going on for 6 weeks. We were in a big range within that channel. Once we broke out to the downside, there was a new leg down. Since we're consolidating, what's the next leg going to be? Is it going to be up or down? That's what we're watching right now. But I don't know. But right now, we are definitely coming off within that channel, right? We're seeing that weakening dollar, and it looks like the next test will be the support coming in at 96.46. That's what I'm seeing. I think we're going to see a further extension of this dollar weakness. I think we're going to see, again, the S&P coming up over here. Now, if we do see risk off coming into the market, and that means the dollar strengthening, it's very clear from where we're at in this position of the week, right? It's very clear on this Monday as the markets are coming off this support, where we're leaning towards. At the same time, just be aware if they make a lower low right here, if we break down out of this trend line, at that point, that's when we're looking for that lower trend line, right? That's what we're looking for. We'll draw it in really quick, and that's the game plan. So Australian dollar, US dollar, you could see we're in this consolidation over here. Does the Australian dollar look like it's getting ready to break down versus the US dollar? It does. It does right over here, right? It seems to me that seems probable if we make the lower over here, and that's a good trade. What about the euro US dollar though over here, right? This one I guess you should be in already, right? That's where the entry signal was over here. Holding this long looks good coming into this resistance. If you're in this trade, and probably some of you are, euro US dollar, let me know. Hit just write in euro US dollar, hit the thumbs up or something like that. But you could see Australian dollar, US dollar. There's a lot happening right now. This is good. Let's continue looking at what's happening with risk. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We're not seeing a risk off or risk on situation right now. I think it's more of a dollar story we're seeing, right? You could see that when I talk about the flow of the market, you could see what the market's focused in right now is the dollar, and if the dollar is going to continue to weaken from here or strengthen. That's how the charts are laying themselves out. So therefore, I would not be looking to trade on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We're not in a risk on, risk off situation. Just taking a look around, let's stop at whatever is interesting here. You can see the euro Australian dollar, and this is interesting. Oh, I wish I would. This is something I wish I was alert on. But look at this breakout over here. Let me go ahead and change this yellow trend line into blue because we're on the white background, and you'll be able to see it a lot clearer. You could see this breakout occurring right now. You could see that if you were paying attention, if you're not in this trade, as I'm not, by the way, I was up too late last night with tech support. That wasn't fun at all, but I should have been all over this trade over here. And as we're breaking outside of this trend line now, this support area has held, breaking through the trend line over here. I love these trend line breaks. This obviously looks like a trend that continue. I'll be still watching this even though I'm not in this trade because there's no reason for that. But what I'm watching over here is, and I will be waiting for the first pullback, and then if I get an entry or resumption, I'm going to be looking here on the euro Australian dollar. This is something as I'm watching the euro look like it's looking trading pretty healthy. Getting ready here. If it breaks out to the upside, I think we're going to see further gains, right, on the euro versus the Australian dollar. So that one, I wish I was in. That one's a good one. Let's jump over to the US dollar, Canadian dollar. First, let me check what's going on here with the US dollar, Mexican peso. And this is interesting. And when I say interesting, it was because we're seeing the stock market, trading up a little bit today, but you're also seeing the US dollar Mexican peso trading up today. Now, normally these two would be trading the other way, if the S&P was trading down, U.S. dollar Mexican peso would be trading up. So this is the first time I'm seeing a break in that correlation in a long time, in a couple of months. So that's interesting to note. I'm just making that note to myself. U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar. Yeah. So as you're consolidating here, against this resistance where price was now been rejected by twice, you're looking, if you start making a higher high over here, if you make a higher high over here, you're looking at that point to go long, right? With this resistance then not holding again, higher high, nice orderly pullback into the last swing resistance, now support. If this resumes up, you want to be getting long over there. Now, what about if you want to be taking a short off of the rejection of this resistance? Absolutely. You could absolutely be looking to do that at this point, because since March or mid-March, we've been in a downtrend, pulled back into resistance. Like I'm looking, well, we're in an uptrend. If I'm breaking this resistance, I'm going long over here. But since March, you've been in a downtrend. And if you want to sell off this resistance, right, would that entry be right there? Yeah, that could have been an entry right there. Which means that you could still, if price were to start making a lower low again, you could also get short over there. That doesn't seem like an attractive trade to me, though. That doesn't seem attractive at all. US dollar, Facebook, by the way. Well, yeah, and Jason, we'll get right after Facebook. We'll get over to the pound US dollar. But I want to pull up a chart of Facebook. You guys know that I have something against even pulling up a chart of Facebook or looking at Facebook. But today I'm going to pull up a chart of Facebook because I want to see this nice little peel off over here. I read this headline that Facebook pummeled in pre-market as a boycott builds. I had no idea that Facebook was being boycotted. This was the first I've heard of it. So, and then, headlines aside, it just says, the media is taking aim at Zuckerberg. So I just wanted to see what was going on over here. I'll come back to that chart in 1 second. So we have advertisers on, boycotting Facebook, and they include these names over here, including Verizon and Hershey's and Honda, North Face, Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia, Eddie Bauer, Mozilla, Magnolia, like a bunch of big advertisers are refusing to advertise on Facebook. I'm not exactly sure why yet. I'm going to find out in 1 second, but you could see that Robinhood is buying the dip. Right? As Facebook is falling here. Robinhood users are saying, so what? It's on sale, right? What are we looking at over here? Market's opening in 5 minutes. I'm not sure this is pre-market data. I don't think that this is like the stock market where things are closed, so we don't really get to see. No, I don't know where this opens. Anyone knows where this is at pre-market? Let me know. But we'll find out in 5 minutes where this thing opens up. And wow, what do you think? Do you buy the dip? I mean, I won't. Do you buy the dip? It is Facebook. And so why is everyone mad at Facebook? Hours after President Trump post last month about sending the military to the Minnesota protests, Trump called Facebook chief executive Mark Zuckerberg. So it seems like Facebook and President Trump are working together, and these companies do not like that. Facebook is feeling the pullback here of advertisers. Let's see if that has a more lasting effect on Facebook. That's where the users are, though. There's a lot of people on Facebook, and Facebook ads work very well and targeted. So are the Robinhood users right here buying the dip? Probably. They probably are. All right, let's look at the pound US dollar, and I want to obviously find out what happens with Facebook on the open over there. Yeah, I'm not in the know about Google also selling off. So there was talk though that if all these advertising dollars leave Facebook and do go to Google, I mean Google, I think it said is going to censor free speech on both sides. You have Facebook censoring speech on one side, the media censoring speech on the other, and they're like Google will just censor everyone's speech. So that sounds fun. That's right. A big shout out to Snowden, Oliver Stone Snowden. No, I don't have an entry price for Facebook. You know, Facebook is not, it's Facebook. Yeah, I mean, when I left Facebook, I left. I left Facebook. I don't know how many friends I've had on Facebook. That's where it was nice to see everyone's picture and everything like that. But when I find out it's just a complete invasion of privacy, that's a freedom, and you have to fight for your freedom. There's no question about that. Otherwise, people will take it away from you. Yeah, I also had a Facebook page. There was, I don't know, a lot, 12,000 people on it. And I left Facebook. I left the Facebook page on Facebook because you just, I don't know, I don't like that kind of stuff. How many people do we have in here this morning? We do have 1,000 people over here, 178 likes. That's pretty cool. I do appreciate all of you spending this time Monday morning. We're about to continue taking a look at what's going on. It's going to be on the pound US dollar. That's the next thing I wanted to talk about, actually. That was that there's headline. The other headline that I found interesting today was that the EU on the Greek exit talks is saying that this week, as the negotiations continue, they're going to work at really making progress together. That's why you saw the pound appreciating. That's why the pound is appreciating. Well, the pound's not appreciation. Blah, 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 blah. Pound is coming off versus the dollar. I have to look at that, and it's coming off a lot versus the euro. So that's interesting. I would have thought differently. I think I would have thought that a positive message here for the UK leaving with a deal would have been favorable towards the pound. We're not seeing that reaction whatsoever. Interesting, right? So, and by the way, the base case remains that nothing happens until the last minute. And then at the last minute, we'll see if something happens, if they get a deal, or if we get here. You have the picture of the dynamite blowing up. If there's no deal, that Boris is saying, well, he's just going to leave without a deal. So expect further volatility towards the end of the year in the British pound and the euro pound for sure. But over here today, let's go back and look at it now that we know what's going on with the news. That the pound here, the pound is getting sold off pretty hard. So what about something like the pound New Zealand dollar? Does that offer up any opportunity? Not really. So by the way, the pound New Zealand dollar, you could see, is not really taking advantage of this day when the pound is weak. That is a sign, right? That's a sign that perhaps maybe is a good place to step in and buy. I don't know about that. Here you are now, right now, coming down towards this support, right? We're near support. I have support at 1.904. Getting close to it. Is that a place to look for if price resumes off? You're also near the bottom of this range over here, right? I see that the pound is weak today. Is that a buying opportunity? That's a bad draw. That should be like that, right? Is this a buying opportunity over here? Also noticing that it was in March at the top of the crisis where this pair has peaked out. So the question is, are we now coming in to support, or is this area going to break over here? This trend line going to break over here, and are we going to see some further moves to the downside? I don't know, but I want to know today as I look at what's going on with the pound. If I look at the pound Japanese yen, the yen also not really able to make some gains today. Is this a place to look for if you see price starting to roll over to the upside, a place to look to get long here on the pound Japanese yen, right? Are we coming into an area of support that is now holding? Is this the best that the yen could do today against the British pound when the pound is weak? And you can see it weak versus the dollar. You can see it really weak versus the euro. And here's the euro British pound. And for whatever reason, this is the market's pricing this in as beneficial to the euro over the UK. So I would think that the UK leaving with favorable terms would be favorable for the pound. Maybe what would be favorable for the pound would be if they left with no deal. Maybe that's what would then they would be able to get in some really good trade deals. That maybe that's what would cause the pound to appreciate the most. And interesting that the market's saying if they leave with a deal that they prefer the euro at these levels. So that's what I'm watching. That's what I'm thinking about. Hold on, I need to give me one quick second, please, y'all. Take a sip of coffee as I asked just for a quick second here. Joe, in the Australian dollar long, get on ya. Nice trade. Tobias, I have the matcha here. Of course I have the matcha here. I have the matcha right here. I drink my coffee first. I make my coffee. I drink my coffee. And then about an hour later, my matcha is the perfect temperature anyway. Inside, like, what are these, like these little Yeti things or whatever? And then it's not a Yeti actually, but those type of thermoses. And then like I start sipping the next couple hours on the matcha. Oh, of course I have the matcha. All right, let's look at Euro Japanese yen. Beautiful. I mean, when I say beautiful, you could see what the euro is doing over here. I'm focused in on the euro US dollar, right? That's where I'm focused. But you could see on the euro Japanese yen, now making higher highs. So this is kind of neat also. When I say this is kind of neat, I mean, we could just keep tracking this trend line. And if at any point we break to the downside, that can mean at that point we've now actually entered into a real risk-off situation. The markets this week, it's July 4th week, they're probably going to be pretty upbeat. They're just coming off of some support. It's very clear for us where we need, and the line in the sand is very clear on what side of the market we should be on this week, which means that it should be a good week. Now, we expect that here on the Euro Japanese yen, we'll continue trading up, right? Unless something changes. But this week going into, I mean, this week, it looks like that it's hard. We're already trading up here, a pretty strong range for the Euro Japanese yen, right? We've already exceeded the daily's range. So how much further upside will you have today? I obviously don't buy up here. You buy down over here. There's no question about that. Everyone knows that. But what happens if you want to get back into this trade over the next few days and into next week? We could see this trading higher. At this point, you have to wait for a pullback, right? You have to wait for a pullback. This is one of them. I wish I was long here on the Euro Japanese yen. I'm not. So then it comes to discerning, am I going to want to get long here if this, leads to an entry? Or does the Euro Australian dollar look, much more promising if I'm able to get, when I get a pullback and if I'm able to get long here? Which of the two am I going to pick? For me, it would be the Euro Australian dollar. And I wish I was long here. Joe, that's awesome that you're long over there. I'm not, but I wish. Hold on. I gotta bring out the hammer. For Ashley over here. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, there was something else. Jordan is a foreign exchange trader. Yep. There was something else that I saw over there that I want. The Euro Canadian dollar. Yeah, there's a couple over here. Euro Canadian dollar. Euro, you could see firming up against everything. Interesting. I don't know why, right? Anyway, I don't care why at the end of the day. Here's what's happening. Euro, though, is firming up over here against the Canadian dollar. There was another pair someone wanted to see. The pound Australian dollar. So let's move over to there. Before we do, it definitely looks like we're getting above this resistance over here on the Euro Canadian dollar. And hey, again, same game plan as across the board. Any pullback, you're looking to buy the resumption, but do you want to buy the Euro Canadian dollar, right? Or the Euro Australian dollar, or the Euro Japanese yen, or the euro US dollar? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. I don't see the euro Canadian dollar as the most attractive personally, but that's what it comes down to when that wave is coming in. This is like a nice clear cut breaking wave here on the euro, right? Everyone could see it clearly. So now it's a question of where do you want to trade and what do you want to trade against, right? So that's where the trading comes down to. This is why I really enforce 3 trades a week, because instead of just taking every setup, it's forcing you to decide where actually you want to focus on. You don't know ahead of time if you're going to be right or wrong. That's impossible. But by being forced to make selection instead of taking just every trade setup, but being forced to select, right? The odds are that you are taking better trades. It's just one small edge. It's just one small edge to add upon every other edge that we can add on, putting more things in our favor. We didn't get a chance to open up the pound Australian dollar, but let's do that. That's when we looked at it last week, right? What do you do? What do you do if you're in this trade, right? I mean, at this point, you need to watch a couple of things. The entry was all the way up here last week. We looked at that all together. But now that you're down into the support over here, you see that you've pierced down or now trading up. What do you do? Right? How do you manage this trade? Those are the questions you need to be asking yourself as you come into the first support. Are you taking a small piece off? Are you taking 20% off this trade as profits? Right? And then what are you doing here? Did you move your stop down loss to break even now? Right? Are you giving it room here to see that if it does or it is able to break down, that you're still involved in this trade off of this entry? Because taking profit into the first support or resistance is not going to, it'll get you a break. You'll become a break even trader, but you're not going to make money like that, right? So you have to give it the opportunity over here. Well, what happens if it starts making higher highs here on the 8-hour? Is there a point where you take everything off the table, right? Is there a point where you take everything off the table and take off these profits because the trade's not going in your way? That's the questions you need to be asking yourself. But we're seeing the definitely the pound weak today. It's on the verge here of breaking down further. It's already put in. It's already resumed off the resistance into the support. Now's when you need to start paying attention. Boom, 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 boom. S&P 500 is a clear. Oh, yeah, it is right there. Right there. I think right here, you got to be looking to the short side right now on the S&P 500. And I think that if you start making higher highs, you got to flip back to the long side because you are trading along this trend line over here. And this could open up right now as we're breaking down below it. Let me show you what we're looking at on the downside. Bitcoin wasn't following this morning. We weren't seeing, whoop, I don't want that there. That's what I want right there. All right. That's what I want right there. I'm connecting this low over here and this low over here. It's cloning that channel. So if we break down over here now, this is what I'm looking as a place of take profit. It's 29.73 in that area, in that horizontal support we have at 29.73, and now this trend line support coming in also at 29.73, or even a little bit lower. But I'm just using the 29.73 level as the best level to provide. What's the dollar doing as that's happening? Not too much. Not too much. Still down. The hard thing in here right now, and the most important thing, would be right now you should definitely be looking for further extension to the short side. If this could get choppy. This could get choppy. So using the 8-hour here is first of all protecting you from a lot of chop than compared to if you want a smaller time frame over here, right? If all of a sudden the bulls take back control, if the bulls make a higher high than this morning session over here from earlier, just 30.28, at that point though, or even the high of 30.37 from the previous 8 hour bar. At that point, you have to get back on the long side over here. So there's the potential over here to get chopped up. So make sure you know where your stop loss is and make sure you stay on the right side of the market over there. It's at an important juncture. The dollar would have to break above this level over here to start having to change your dollar positions, right? And so far that is resuming off and holding. So, continue to have that further dollar weakness bias until proven wrong. If you see the S&P coming off, then right away I look to the dollar to see if the dollar is strengthening. That's not the case over here. That's not the case. So Bitcoin has not been participating in the morning positive tone that we saw on the equity markets, and but still holding close to the 9100 level. What else are we looking at over here? Let me take a look at the comments really quick. Why I do take a sip of the matcha. Nice trading, TCS 106. Yep. Mart, that's true. I need to be more focused in on that. Yeah, we've looked at the Euro Australian dollar. That's looking pretty bullish. Let's check that out, Jason. Let's check out whether the Euro US dollar is now pulling back into support. Come over here to the Euro US dollar. No, we're not yet pulling back into support. So this is, by the way, this is like the consolidation area we're in. I'm highlighting here this 5-year trend line, right? My mouse is on right now. And then down over here, I'm looking at, we just made a higher low, right? If we trade below this, probably then we're breaking out to the downside. Right now, you're in no man's land. You're dead center. You're dead center. So unless some people might be in this trade from this morning, right? Off of the support, resuming up where that entry line is right there, right? And they're holding on to trades that so far are falling into profit, but there's nothing else to do, right? They have their stop loss in wherever it is, and they're holding that trade and they're looking at the first area of resistance to then decide what to do next, right? But you're in no man's land right now. There's nothing to do here. And this little bit of a blue squiggly line is to show that probably we're going to see further consolidation, right? But if we don't, if we break out here to the downside or upside, well, then that's also an opportunity to get in. So Euro US dollar is completely in play. It's in play literally, off the bottom of this support over here. It's in play off the rejections of these resistances up here. And the next break up or down on the Euro US dollar, I believe, could lead to a pretty good move on the upside. If we break out, there's this trend line over here. I'll put it into blue really quick. That's the target. If we break out to the upside, it's towards the upper end of this trend line over here. And depending on where we break out and when we get up there, you're looking in the neighborhood of 1.64. Which is a nice trade. So you want to be watching that over here to the upside. Of course, at the same time, being rejected over here, that could lead to some further dollar strengthening. Could the dollar trade back up to to 99, 100? Yeah, I mean it could happen, right? I don't. It doesn't look like that's what's happening right now, but that could happen. And if that happened, could we firm up here? Yeah. That's why we're watching it. It's an important area. Just join. What are you joining? Hey, thanks, Leo. Thanks for everyone who got in here this morning and has gone ahead and smashed that like button, showing your support of the channel. Yeah, let's talk about gold and silver. I like to talk about gold and silver. Gold and silver are pretty bullish right now, right? Let me go ahead and be mindful of removing those comments now. And let's take a step back here. We'll look at gold on the 3-day time frame. I mean, if you like charts, right? If you like charts, there's the chart. By the way, gold, silver, Bitcoin, I'm putting in a different category now as we are. But Bitcoin is excuse me, gold is trading here towards yearly highs. Gold is. Silver is not. Bitcoin is not. Both silver and Bitcoin could be relatively quickly. So by the way, I'm looking here at the crisis at the drawdown, right, of 13% on gold. So during a liquidity crisis, probably gold facing its biggest threat that it could face, and we do know in the past that gold rebounds from those situations. But during the liquidity crisis, gold came off 13%. Now it's been in a pretty strong bull market. It's for going back over here. Hold on one second. Where was that last big breakout of gold? That was, I need to look at the 8-hour chart. It was down over here. This was back in May of 2019. This is when the bull market began. It was this breakout of this trend line over here. I got to change everything because of the background. It was the break of this trend line over here, came back, the retest, and then the resumption. That set off the bull market here on gold. During the liquidity crisis, gold came off 13%. What does that mean to me? Why am I saying this? Is because gold, I do believe, over the foreseeable future, is going to be not only a protection in your portfolio, it not only provides insurance because you could wake up tomorrow and this dollar debt based system has collapsed. I mean, it's not probable, but that's a reality that we live with today, and we all know it now. So if gold has pulled off 13% during the heart of the crisis, how do you position yourself in gold, right? You could just keep looking at the high of gold, right? Whatever price puts in, and then maybe without knowing, because I haven't done it myself, what I'd be looking to do. But what's a normal pullback from gold is 5% is probably a big pullback, and any 5%, any 5% drawdown in gold as you continue up over the next 6, 12, who knows how far into the future. Over here they're talking about expanding the Fed's balance sheet by the end of the year to $10 trillion. We could see gold definitely continuing to thrive in that situation. If you're looking to position yourself into gold during this continuation, the bull market here on gold is we're not seeing it yet, even though, since 2019, since May, since the breakout over here, we've been in the beginning stage of the bull market. We haven't really gotten into the bull market yet, right over here, where we're going to see some pretty large gains. I think that's what you do on gold. You can't do the same thing on silver because silver has much greater volatility. Both it will to the upside and it does to the downside. You could see over here during the crisis, you could see that silver was off 30%, right? 36%. So, what type of pullbacks will you have on silver in comparison to gold? You'll probably have close to anywhere between 13 to 16% pullbacks that you'd probably want to be looking to purchase accumulate silver during this coming time. That's what I would be looking to do. And if you got yourself into a position like right now, if you're buying off this support here on silver, which is a good looking place, right? This is a good looking place over here on the 8-hour time frame. Once we started trading off of that support over here, then here's another, right? And again, and next higher high over here will be another opportunity to buy into silver off of that longer term support. Just know that anytime you're buying into silver here as you're close to the high, when I say close to the high, this is the high, and I'm going to come back 16%. Here's 16%, right? So I have to be ready for silver at any point in time to trade off 16%, which would be down here from where it is now. Even if I'm buying off this support, right? And I'm talking about long-term positions over here, positioning yourself in, not trying to swing trade, but trying to take advantage of the trend we're in and the trend that looks like it's going to continue. You have to expect you could have further downside on silver, and also you should be looking at any time you get close to that type of drawdown to be positioning long into silver. Same thing on Bitcoin. That's the plan for Bitcoin, which this is way different than trading the FX currency pairs, 8-hour time frame. Bitcoin, gold, silver, they're approaching different market cycles, and you want to be taking advantage of the gains that could be had during that timing. Bitcoin also will have outsized gains and also drawdowns, and you could expect at any point in time a 30% drawdown now during the bull market. In Bitcoin, if you go down to 30% from where you are at the most recent high, you're talking 7,300. There's nice support down there. That's a possibility. That's what you have to plan for, so that when you're trading down at 7,000, you're not like, I'm selling my Bitcoin. No, that's where you're looking to buy Bitcoin. You have to have that mentality to help you through the wild rides ahead. Right now in Bitcoin itself, though, as we're talking about that 9100 level, and you can see it's trading off 14-15%. That's why I say, if you don't own Bitcoin, I wouldn't wait for the break of 10,400. I would be buying in here now as prices pull back 15%. The support's been holding 15%. Is a good place to buy into Bitcoin. And if it goes down from here another 10 or 15%, you would want to definitely accumulate more. That was a mouthful. Do we have any likes in the room today? Yeah, we got a lot of people in here. We got 1,000 of us in here and 400 likes. Appreciate every single one of them. S&P selling off strong. Not yet. It may. Right. So what's going to happen here with that? How's that going to balance out the pressure you're seeing from Facebook? What happens if those dollars are going towards Google, right? Is what's Google doing today? Is Google trading up? Probably not. What's Alphabet's ticket? What's Alphabet's ticket? Yeah, Google's getting wrecked. I wonder why. Again, the one thing I want to say here about the markets, the S&P over here, you should be short over here now, but if you break over here to the high, you have to flip flop. That's really, really important. Same thing on the NASDAQ over here. I don't have any levels on the chart. I thought we were looking at this weekend together. I thought we were looking at us coming into supports levels across the board. Not really seeing that on these new white charts. Look, this is the reason why I can't go back to the dark charts so quickly. Just let me show you really quick. How do we go settings? How do we go to, there we go, dark chart. That's not so bad anyway. By the way, light or dark, which do you prefer? Here's a look at the dark chart now. You can see the contrast. It's not the dark charts that I used to have though, and it's just different. I have to play with it to get it to how I like it. If we go back there, when we go back there, yep. Dark. we got a big support of the darkness. Definitely. It's easier on my eyes. It's much easier on my eyes looking at the computer screen. I know that the light screen might seem initially easier to see things, but the dark screen, the more you look at it, it's just easier on the eyes. That is true. Can't see levels in the white. Yeah, so pound Australian dollar on the 1 hour time frame, that's a small time frame. Let's check it out just for the fun of it. So pound Australian dollar. Are we trading towards the bottom of this channel support over here? Looks like we held it. Absolutely. Here's the thing. First of all, if you just get out of the habit of trying to pick bottoms, right? Is that a bottom? I mean, that's a bottom. This is looking like a bottom right now. And the thing about trying to catch bottoms is that you could get yourself on the good side of a trade here, where you could pick the bottom and then like make a bunch of money and think that you did a good thing. But the truth is not. You just want to be in the habit of in downtrends like this of selling off of resistance, because that's where the momentum is. So in downtrends like this, you just want to sell off the resistance, right? And the resistance is, I mean, you want to be on the 8 hour also. Resistance was up here. That was our last level of resistance. You could see it here on the darker chart at 1.8111 over here. And that's where you look to sell. Now as you're coming into the support, that's where you look to take profits, right? You could look to take profits, especially if you see that holding over here. That's why maybe you take 20% off the trade. But you still got to give this trade room to go. On the 8 hour time frame, it's looking quite bearish. There's no reason yet to exit the trade, right? The earliest and the most aggressive exit would be on the 8 hour time frame if price made a higher high, right? Right now, the better play is now you have your stop loss at break even. You took off 20% of the trade. You have your stop loss at break even. The thing is you expect more trades are going to get stopped out at break even, all right, or a small loss. It's the only way you could get to actually pushing trades into profit. So that's where you're at. That's where you are. Let's see. We got lots of darks. Thanks for that like. I do appreciate that support. Today, Davison, 794% today. Is that in 7.3 weeks. Wow. Bring the fire. What do you got, Reza? Reza's got a show on Netflix. It's called Dark, a German science fiction TV series on Netflix. He recommends it. Yeah. That is awesome. You got absolutely. Thanks for being here today. I hope that you're all having a good Monday, enjoying looking at the markets. I know I do, and I'd love to be able to share it with you. I'm not sure what the Queen of the South is. Is that also on Netflix? Boom, boom, boom. That's right. Big shout out over there. The Last Dance, Jason, I recommend also. Extraordinary. If you want to be a better trader, watch The Last Dance, because watching the legend Michael Jordan will help you understand what is necessary in order to compete at a top level. It's a really good one. Nice. A lot of a lot of shout outs there for the Dark on Netflix. The charts are now dark. Oh, it's much easier to see. We are now coming off over there. That was pretty I don't know, how do you say, funny, right? But I was warning, you have to get short there, but watch out. Watch out if we trade to the upside. And if we do, and if you start making higher highs here, you got to flip back. Not a fun place to be. Not a fun place to be when you're, in that situation where you got to flip sides, because obviously you don't want to be over trading, but you do not want to get caught on the wrong side over here. So I don't know what's going on with all this hoopla. When I say hoopla, I think that the market, when you're seeing Google down also, the market is saying, wait a second, these big corporations that spend all this money, now we have to fall in line with their political views. Otherwise, they'll pull away all of those advertising dollars. How is big tech going to respond? How is big tech is known for censoring views and viewpoints, right? The big tech, that's what they do. They censor our voices. So if they're censoring our voices and now they're being censored by corporations who have the money, what does big tech do? I don't know. You know, ultimately, if I'm Facebook, listen, if you want to get the users, you got to advertise here. At the end of the day, if you want to reach the users, you have to advertise there. How long before Verizon comes back to advertise on Facebook, or do they never again? I don't know. Some people have like some pretty firm opinions. So I don't know if these advertising dollars are going to come back, where they're going to go. But it looks like that tech is kind of wondering what's going on over here. How else are people going to advertise, right? What's the best way to advertise this day? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Google search? Is it on YouTube pre-rolls? I don't know, but it's interesting now that companies are willing to put their advertising dollars where they feel that it is morally correct for them. End of July for most of them. 1 month boycott. It's only a 1 month boycott. Well, that's is that true? Is it only a 1 month boycott? If that's the case, right? Then you're buying the dip in tech. Um, this is the best comment of the session, Milty. Milty. Obviously, Jordan is a libertarian. Oh, you guys are the best. Summer boycotting to the end of the year. All right. So basically, like, listen, we need to cut back on advertising dollars as is because of the current situation of the economy. So this was going to be a point where, coming into the election where we'll take a stand, we'll pull back our advertising dollars. All right, we'll pull up the chart of the NASDAQ, everybody. You think tech comes back from this? I do. What kind of drawdown did we have over here during the height of that bear market? 30% drawdown, right? So do you get a 10%, a 15% pullback on the NASDAQ? And if you do, are you prepared to buy for all those that believe in the equity markets, for all those who believe in tech? Is owning tech, which is in this environment has been thriving, right? Is that something that you want to be doing as a longer term play? Or do you feel more comfortable owning Bitcoin, silver, or gold? Right? If you ask yourself 6 months from now, which is going to be trading higher, the Nasdaq or gold, what do you guys think? Put in the comments whether anyone thinks Nasdaq or gold. I'm interested to hear. I think that strongly it'll be gold that would be trading higher. I think gold is a better place to tell my mother to keep her money because it's going to make her more money and she'll have to worry about it less over the next 6 and 12 months. So, but either which way, there are those that love them some tech, and any pullback, I think is an opportunity to buy. Right now, you've already pulled back 5%. You pulled back 5%. So that also might be attractive. 5% pullback on the NASDAQ. Got some pretty bad news today in the tech land, and it's not really having a problem with it. What about what's going on with Tesla, by the way? Let's check in on Tesla. Tesla holding its own. This is dirty. Let me clean that up. All right, Tesla's looking good over here, and it's consolidating. Look at that. What happens if Tesla breaks back over there out of this consolidation here? No resistance above this level, right? And we're going to see a further extension, maybe if breaking of this trend line over here, specifically taking out that low, right? At that point, anyone long Tesla, probably a good idea to step aside, wait for the next pullback into this support down over here, or a breakout here to the upside. Tesla interesting. No, I don't have any thoughts on what's plummeting, Bitcoin or GBTC? GBTC. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's plummeting. Good day to buy some GBTC. Good day in my opinion. to buy some GBTC. As was last week, and as will the following week, in my opinion. Great opportunity. Anyone over here? Listen, this is not Bitcoin. This is the only opportunity someone stuck inside the equity markets has towards playing Bitcoin, and you pay a nice premium on this. It's just the way it is. But you're not looking to trade this. You're looking to buy and hold this during this period, this phase that we're entering. We'll talk about taking profits in the fall of 2021. Wirecard is now up 165%. The casino is open. Anyone looking to place their bets on Wirecard? So DXY is climbing now, Brian. Thanks for the heads up. We are climbing right now. Let's take a look at this. We got really messy. Sorry about that. All right, here we are. So we have our line up here. We're looking really 97.70, right? 97.70. This line right here, a break above there. At that point, it looks like we can then see the nicer strength on the dollar. But again, that's resistance until it breaks. And right now, I do think that we should continue to see a rejection over here. I think we'll see a rejection over here, and trade off. If we break above it, then position yourselves accordingly. That would mean, for example, if you were long right now on the euro, US dollar, the dollar index breaking above that level we were just looking at, that 97.70, that would be here that the euro US dollar is taking out this support down over here at 1.1195. And at that point, we already made our game plan. At that point, then we're looking for further dollar strength to take advantage of that, breaking out of that consolidation. But that's not happening yet. Right now, we're looking for this support to hold. So far, price is resuming off of it. Still coming back right now to test an area of the breakout. So this continues to have that bullish bias. You're seeing a little bit of return in the dollar. But let's see where the dollar's at three hours from now. And specifically watch for a break of that level before you would be looking to change your opinion on what the dollar's doing right now. Same thing with the U.S. equity markets. You have to watch out now for that higher high. You just have to watch out for it. We're in a pretty nice situation across the board where everything is pretty clear. It's a good place to be. It'll keep you on the right side of the market. It's a short week, but there's a lot of money to be made this week. There's going to be some good trades. Market looks nice. No, there's a problem, Luke. The only thought I have on this problem is that this is something, these zombie corporations, a zombie corporation is a corporation that's kept alive and is just able to pay the interest on its debt and never back the principal. And, the reason these companies are kept alive is to keep the debt system alive and not toppling over. And why it could become a problem, why it is already a problem, but why it could spiral out of control, Luke, it's not happening now, and I don't see it happening anytime soon. What is going to happen when we see any type of defaults, especially on all of these real estate holding companies? People are not paying rent. You have malls where they're not open, right? They haven't been open. No one's been paying the rent. Things like Cheesecake Factory, right, hasn't been able to pay rent on all its stores. What happens there? Is that something that is going to cause a type of shock to the system anytime soon? I don't think it's happening yet. I think these companies are going to be able to continue taking on debt for a while. Hearing rolling backs. Oh, boom, boom. I'm going to go back to that gold and silver question in 1 second. This is what I wanted to highlight over here. Hearing rolling blackouts in July. Blackouts of what? What are we talking now over here, Bretsky? Yeah, I don't know that. So, thoughts on the recent emergence of COVID affecting the S&P, Dow, and Nasdaq? That's a really important question, and coming from a position of someone who back in late January brought to the attention of what was happening with the virus and how it was going to impact the financial markets, and was there all the way through before the crisis became a crisis and throughout and during the crisis. I think that I'm surprised that we're still in the first wave here. And this is right now still an extension of the first wave. And I do think that we're going to have a second wave. This is not the second wave. I do also think at the same time that the system is much more prepared for a second wave. That whether it's through tracers or trackers or whatever they call these people that that they're tracking you, right? They're able to contain any type of communal breakout of the virus a lot better than they were in the past. I think people are a lot more aware of what's going on. People are more safe, taking safety as a priority. And I think that we're going to be able to deal with the second wave better than we were with the first one. I don't think that the second wave means a lockdown across the every state. Only those places experiencing really bad outbreaks will go into lockdown. I think that we've seen the worst. I think that we've seen the worst. I think that the second wave could actually be bigger than the first wave, but I think that generally, all of us will be able to deal with it much better. And that's my thoughts. So I'm not getting residential rent too. This is a huge problem. We're talking about seeing the Fed's balance sheet expand, by almost 50% by the end of the year. That is mind-boggling to think of. I can't process those type of numbers. I cannot, but that's what's happening, and it doesn't make any sense because people right now, they can't pay rent, and that's not just the landlords. Then how did the landlords service their mortgages, right? It's a problem, and for sure the corporations are going to get bailed out, and for sure any funds or banks that need to get bailed out will get bailed out. Are they going to be enacting more stimulus? And when will they enact more stimulus? And when will they enact more? I say stimulus. Is it really stimulus when you give everyone $1,200? $1,200. Wow. Thanks. And where does that money go? Right. Well, a lot of that money went into investments. A lot of that money went into Bitcoin. A lot of that money went into Bitcoin. People feel that, owning Bitcoin for the next year or 10 years or 3 years is going to be a lot better of an investment than holding on to those dollars. I think that's going to wind up being a smart choice. Is buying Bitcoin off of my cash okay? Robert, I don't know how to. I guess you could go to a Bitcoin ATM and buy Bitcoin off cash like that. You pay a premium to do that. I would use BlockFi. The link is in the description below. Let's see over there. Is there any way to trade options on Bitcoin? You have, not options, but you have futures market, CME futures market. You could trade Bitcoin itself. So that's probably where you would want to focus there. Rolling blackouts in California. Amazing that the U.S. has no infrastructure. Speaking of which, right, we're going to see some big spending on infrastructure in the U.S. I don't know whether it comes during this current administration or it comes after the election, but we are coming to a point where they're going to need to be spending a lot of money on our infrastructure. Bitcoin, gold, silver. The question came up, which is the better investment? Is it gold or is it silver, right? And so listen, everyone has different investment objectives, right? Objectives. So why I think, and I'm going to show you why I think that silver is going to continue to outperform gold. And just let me pull that up for you really quick. Why I think that silver is going to continue to outperform gold here. During the crisis over here, right? I think this was the peak of the gold to silver ratio. And I think that we're going to see silver continuing to outperform gold. Never, and I own both gold and silver for a long time now. And the physical stuff, and you know, how do I put this? At this point, I only prefer, I guess, uh, gold is it's easier. It's easier to take care of. It's lighter, right? It's easier to store. Or should you be storing silver, physical silver and gold in vaults around the world? Yes. Listen, I do think that silver outperforms gold over here. Same thing with why I prefer holding Bitcoin over Ethereum. Same thing. I'd rather own Bitcoin just like I'd rather own and hold gold, even though I think that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin during this bull market also. So make of that of what you will. Someone might prefer to be actually taking the trades on Ethereum or on silver, you know. But I always lean towards what is, I guess you could say, the safer asset. That if you had to own at the end of the day, which one you'd want to own. Yep, I agree. Is Bitcoin futures and high leverage trading holding Bitcoin down? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Um, it, you know, I don't think so. Nope. I think that's a concern that comes up. It's common for sure. If you were addressing what you think are the biggest risks to Bitcoin, right? I think this would be one of them. People's concern. Is it being manipulated as is gold? Even why gold is manipulated, it still is able to do its thing. Bitcoin has a thing every year called I forgot what it's called, but what you do is you withdraw all your Bitcoin off any exchanges, right, to prove that you hold the keys to your Bitcoin. And this kind of could help in the future between Wall Street being able to lend out more Bitcoin than it actually owns. So, short term, do futures play a role? They play a role in the market. High leverage trading plays a role in the market. But what's to say that someone trading, a large sum of money in high leverage on BitMEX, that it's just easier for them to make money on the long side it is on the short side, right? So it's not like as if they have any type of motive, or to try and manipulate the market down. Sure, there might be a certain group of traders, right, who are trying to do that at certain times. They're able to maybe do that. Bitcoin's holding 9100 here. Bitcoin is being Bitcoin, right? It's being Bitcoin. It's looking over here if it could break out now and start its bull run cycle, which is right where it should be right now in time. Like this is where Bitcoin should be, right? We're only talking about 1 month after the halving. It's 1 to 3 months where the breakout occurs, and I think it's game on. There's nothing that says any different than that should happen. We're in the perfect environment for Bitcoin, for gold and silver to thrive and continue to thrive. Again, more stimulus is coming. And is that going to be basic income is the question. I could foresee for sure a point in time where, because of what's happening with the economy, and business, I saw 41% of businesses on Yelp went bankrupt. That's a lot of small business that's gone. Those businesses are not coming back so quickly. A lot of money was lost. There's no question about that, and how long before basic income is implemented? Yeah, you got it, Noah. Proof of keys, Vincent. Yep, absolutely. Thank you for that. It's called Proof of Keys. I believe it's January the 3rd. I'm not positive about that. How do you short Bitcoin? Just sell. So if you're asking a question like how do you short Bitcoin, you should not be shorting Bitcoin. You're gonna get wrecked. Cash App, partial shares. Someone also talked about Gemini. You could join Gemini and then you could place orders, like limit buy orders and pay. You could dollar cost average in that way really, really, really inexpensively. So that's something to also think about. 1 year target, Brandon, my target by the end of December 2020 is between 17 and $20,000. You know, uh, right around the all time, right around 19,000, the all time highs. That's where I think we'll be. I don't think we make new all time highs by the end of the year, but I think we come up and test them. Yeah, so GLD is the popular one, but I don't, you know, the paper market and the physical market, right? How much longer will the paper market be around? If there's a problem with the paper market, you're going to get your dollars. You're not going to get the gold. So you have third party risk when holding gold, with anyone else. That's the problem. If you ever need gold, you know, you won't have it. You'll have worthless paper digits on your in your account. So I don't know, but there are certain ones that actually have. There's maybe someone else in the chat knows which is the best gold ETF to own as far as the gold might actually be there. All right. All right, everyone. I think it was a great session. I know I enjoyed spending this Monday morning here with you, going over the markets. I love the markets right now. Why I'm again, no FOMO. Wait for the levels to break. Wait for the levels. We're all watching. Everyone should feel very safe. They know exactly what's happening over here. And again, watch if this breaks to the upside. If this breaks to the upside, make sure that you're on the right side of the market. We're at a very important area over here. You want to make sure that you're on the right side over here. Same thing on the dollar, euro US dollar. We know where we're looking to find support. We know where we're looking to break down over here. At this point, I want to try and get on the right side of the market. As you're making a lower low over here, though, I don't. Let me step back over here. I'm going to keep my broader view over here as not to get whipped around so much. And be careful and remember the time of the day. Clint, absolutely. You know what? Listen, Roman, thank you. I just want everyone here who's investing their time. I just want it really, really obviously to provide value for them, which means improving their trading, improving the results. I know that anyone who spends time here does that, and I thank you all for when you share that with me. That really makes a huge difference, and I love it. I really do. So, all right, everyone, have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. There you go. Thank for Gary Scott is saying ticker PHYS is the Sprott Gold Fund. That's what I was looking for in the back of my mind. I would never have been able to pull that up, but that's the one I believe also worth looking into. Thanks, Gary Scott, for that. Yeah, that's true, right? I didn't ask which ETF trades gold, tracks gold. I said which one has the highest reassurance. Yep, assurance level. Black and white debate going on. I went back towards the black here mid session just because it's easier on my eyes.